Let's talk about the aperture a little bit more because it's important to understand why it matters and how you may take advantage of it. Quite often I see some numbers here and there, great, just it needs to bring an association in your mind. Because in this context exactly, a lot of photographers are willing to make a mistake. As usual, I'll try to explain everything through some examples. Again, photos of mine. So here's the first one. The photo was taken on f11. Look at the background. Well, it is there due to this aperture exactly. You hear me often say that the background is the one which creates the frame. Here's a proof. In order to compare and see clearly what I mean, take a look at the photo now. That's how I would have killed the photo, metaphorically speaking. Just to clarify, the background is blurred in Photoshop, only for the sake of the example. This is how it would look like on f2.8. Just the portrait of a woman, nothing more. Well, there would be no story in this frame, a story which actually is a pretty good one. It adds a completely different meaning to the photo. The role of composition should not be underrated as well. I myself shoot with an open aperture in several cases. When it is very dark, for example, and there is no other way out. Or, the second scenario, when I want to put the emphasis on a specific object. It does help then. Back to the case when you shoot in the dark. Well, it really doesn't matter that you need to shoot randomly. It's your task to try to take advantage of the background. Even if this is a simple bouquet, you can also use it to build your frame. There would be times, of course, when you don't need the background at all. What you need is the facial expression, the emotion, and this is more than enough. Another example, same idea. Look at him. What else can be better? What else you may need more in this photo? The look itself is enough. The background simply doesn't matter. Of course, there's always a temptation when you have a high-end lens to shoot, for example, on f1.2 or f1.4 and so on. I myself was lured more than once. On top of it all, there is always the risk of losing the focus when choosing the very open aperture. Especially in difficult conditions as these, especially when there's a moving object in the foggy weather. Here you do literally have no choice. I shot on f1.2 and hoped for the best. Well, when lucky enough, the result turns out to be quite a pleasant one, as here. Just always, absolutely always, you need to understand what you want to include in your frame. If there is an incredible face, take more of it, using either the aperture or the crop. If the background is what matters, then close the aperture. Here I wanted to capture everything. The expression of the person in the foreground, as well as the appropriate background. Both of them let me combine mood and story. As a result, here's a stronger frame. The aperture I used is f13. And then the f16 in work. Why? Well, first of all, I needed to keep the dialogue between the shirt and the building. And second, aperture like this helps and makes it possible to shoot in a very bright afternoon sun. As the one here, this is a shot from the streets of Israel in the summer. You may imagine what sun I speak about. Same idea I applied in this case, the scorching Israeli sun again. The number of the aperture is f16. It did also help me build the association between the head and the skyscraper. On 2.8 or even 4, this would not have worked. If I had blurred the building even a little bit, the link between these details would have been lost. Here it was necessary to think quickly. 6 a.m. in the morning, the light is not enough, on top of it all, against the sunrise. It's shot at 2470 f9. If I had gone for a larger number of the aperture, I wouldn't be able to shoot the speed would fall. The background here is really very important. So I did work with the most correct settings for that situation. The mosque in the frame and the mountains are very important details in my view, details that cannot be skipped. I mean either cropped or blurred. One more time, do always think about what you want to include in the frame and what you want to emphasize on. These details will help you make up your mind. Next shot, aperture 13. It would be insane not to include the background here, do you agree? What a strong dialogue between these two worlds, and how much sadness in one and the same frame. One more example, last in the series. Aperture 13 again. When shooting, it's my strong advice to keep repeating to yourself, I'm a street photographer. Street photographers are storytellers. It's you and only you who may decide what to tell with your photo. Do not miss the important details. At the same time, do not add unnecessary elements into the frame. Think, analyze, and react.